Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So for this video, I'm going to talk about this whole Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef. And I'm going to tell you why I think that Drake is winning. First of all, Kendrick came out with a great song like that, with Future and Metro Boomin. That's one of the best diss songs that I've heard in a while, and just one of the best hip hop songs I heard in a while. That beat is incredible that Metro Boomin produces. I love that song. It's a song I play over and over again. And basically in that song, Kendrick basically sparked off this whole cycle of beef. And I know some people will say it was, first person shooter or whatever that song is called. They'll say that that's what really generated the beef. But this song is what has sparked this back and forth that we're hearing right now on social media, and we're hearing on, in these songs and stuff like that. So in that song, Kendrick Lamar basically says, F a big three, it's just big me. And the quote unquote big three includes him, J. Cole, and Drake. And he's basically saying F, J. Cole, and Drake is all about him. And so in response, Drake put out a song, Push Ups, which was a funny diss song. It had the right kind of beat for a diss song, the right kind of flow for a diss song. And it was, it was hilarious. And it was hard hitting. So I enjoyed that song. And then he also had another song, Tailor Made, where he sampled, or he used AI rather. He used AI to recreate Tupac and to use Snoop's voice. And he really dissed Kendrick in a very creative and innovative kind of way, a way that's not, something that's common in hip hop, really pushing it to the edge. And, and basically after he put out that song, the Tupac estate issued a cease and desist and all that kind of stuff. And Drake is basically saying that Kendrick put them up to it. He notified the estate and they put through this cease and desist order. And I don't know if that's true. It's possible that that may have happened, but I can't say with certainty if that's true. But that's a punk move if that's the case, man. And that already has you in a losing posture. So after those songs, Kendrick put out a couple of diss songs. He put out the Euphoria song and another song. And as far as I'm concerned, they both were whack. That Euphoria song had me going to sleep at the beginning. It sounded more like something you would hear at some spoken word session where people are burning incense. And another thing is, I don't like those little goofy voices that Kendrick does in his songs, these overly animated, odd, weird sounding voices. And for some reason, I guess some people think that's hot. They think that's fire or whatever. But to me, it's just whack. So those songs fell flat as far as I'm concerned. And I know a lot of people were ranting and raving about them. And, then he's like putting out here these allegations of Drake being a pedophile, without any kind of real concrete proof that that's the case. So when you put out like a serious defamatory allegation like that without any kind of proof, that's not winning to me. In fact, that's losing as far as I'm concerned. So he put out that, and then he ran with he put out this song, Meet the Grams, which is probably his best diss song yet, as far as this series of songs after Like That, because that song had him writing letters to Drake's family members, basically dissing them and Drake at the same time. And, he pulls up this allegation that Drake has some 11-year-old daughter that he's not caring for and all that kind of stuff. And he uses cover art for this particular song, basically suggesting or stating that there's somebody inside of Drake's camp that's flipped on him and is ratting him out and all that kind of stuff. And he also accuses Drake of being a snitch and all this and that. And the master chess move here is when Drake dropped that last song, his most recent song, The Heart, where he basically talks about how he just planted this stuff and he had Kendrick going on some dummy mission. And so if that's true, he definitely I mean, if that's true, Drake definitely is winning this battle. You know, if he actually planted this stuff and Kendrick just ran with it without doing his due diligence, he definitely won. That means he masterminded the whole thing. And he had this guy running with some false allegations that aren't even true and putting it out here like he's making some great reveal or some great revelation. And that just makes him look like a clown, man. And the other thing that really makes him look like a clown, if that's true, you know, so if, you know, if it's true that he gave him these fake, this fake information and he ran with it, like this fake information about his daughter, then that makes Kendrick look like a complete clown. And another thing that really, one of the most hard-hitting points that Drake makes in his disses is he calls Kendrick Lamar out as a hypocrite. Because, Kendrick Lamar with his To Pimp a Butterfly album, he was like, he came off as like one of these new woke artists, like where he's conscious, he's concerned about the community, he's pro-black and all this and that. But Drake basically called him out as an activist. Like he's basically saying it's an act, it's a show, it's not really who he is. And, for instance, he talks about how Kendrick is calling out Drake for not basically being black enough. But yet and still, here Kendrick is married to a biracial woman while he's talking all this stuff about the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. He's dating and getting with these white women while he's talking about complexion is not a thing and all that kind of stuff. And he's talking about basically celebrating dark-skinned women and black women in general while he's being with white women and being with light women. So I think that is a hard-hitting point. He's talking all this pro-black stuff while there's serious allegations against him of domestic violence. And I think that there's no recovery from that. And then also, Kendrick is starting to look desperate, by putting out all these back-to-back songs. He's looking like a fan. He's looking like an obsessed fan, a disgruntled, obsessed fan. That's how he's looking right now, putting out song after song after song. And Drake basically called him out on that. And I know a lot of people took that last song, The Heart Part 6, as some kind of surrender. It was not a surrender. He's basically calling Kendrick out as a clown and stuff. Basically talking about how he's going to put out 10 more songs. And he's basically saying, I'm done with this foolishness. I'm not going back and forth with you over 10 songs. And the fact that Kendrick is putting out these songs, it's like if you have a hard-hitting diss song, you don't need to constantly put out more and more diss songs. One hard-hitting diss song is enough. Just like with, Tupac dropped Hit 'Em Up. He didn't have to put out any more like diss songs after that going at Biggie. He destroyed Biggie with that. Just like, Nas did Ether. And Ether, basically shut down Jay-Z, even though Jay-Z tried to come back with, Super Ugly. And, he had another song, Blueprint 2, which was more of a reflection than an outright diss song. But Nas, when he dropped Ether, he didn't have to go back and forth with Jay-Z because he did the job with that one song. When you do the job, you don't have to do back and forth. And one of the things that revealed the weakness and desperation of Kendrick is this whole talk about where he's questioning Drake's blackness. And I just think that that's a low point, where you're questioning somebody's blackness and calling a black man a colonizer. The fact of the matter is biracial people in this country are black, regardless of what these pro-black hoteps will tell you. In this society, that's how biracial people are treated. They are viewed as black and they are treated as black. Just ask President Obama. Despite all his achievements, despite being biracial and raised by, his white grandparents and all that kind of stuff without his black father being in his life, the fact of the matter is society viewed him as black and treated him as black. called him the N-word, treated him unlike any other president, with disrespect because of the color of his skin, depicted him as a terrorist, as a chimpanzee, and all that kind of stuff. So, when he goes into calling somebody a colonizer and questioning their blackness, calling them white boy, and basically running with Rick Ross's diss, that shows a lack of originality. And it shows, just like a desperation again, that you'll go down that route knowing good and damn well Drake is black. And if you have such an issue with biracial people, why are you married to a biracial woman or with a biracial woman? So, yeah, I mean, I just think that's one thing. And then also, like, people want to, constantly talk about how deep Kendrick Lamar is. And, he's a great lyricist. I like Kendrick Lamar. I've listened to all of his albums. I regularly stream his albums. He's a great artist. But I just don't think he's winning this battle. And I know that that's an unpopular opinion, but I'm standing behind it. And another thing that I want to point out is, like, a diss song is not like hieroglyphics. Like, people think that somebody is such a great, created such a masterful diss song. If you got to decipher it, translate it, decode it, like go through all this stuff to interpret it. A diss song should just be straightforward. It should have, it should be straightforward, disrespectful, clever, funny, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that Drake has a lot of those elements in his diss songs, and Kendrick doesn't. And, by putting out these constant diss songs, all these back-to-back diss songs, first of all, it shows that you're not satisfied with the product that you already created. It shows desperation. It makes you look like somebody that's obsessed. And that's how Kendrick is looking right now. And the other point that I'll make is this. Everybody loves to hate on Drake because he's winning, man. People hate winners and they love underdogs. And I think that that's part of the reason why a lot of people are rallying behind Kendrick, why they're supporting him and all this and that. They just hate to see somebody win. So when they see somebody challenging them, they want to jump on that bandwagon. And people go with what's popular and stuff like that. And that's why a lot of people are riding this Kendrick train or whatever. And the other thing is this. Another thing that makes him the winner is because he's going up against so many people at once. Like, he's going up against Future. He's going up against Metro Boomin. He's going up against Rick Ross and other people, and he's holding his own. And I've seen all these memes on social media comparing him to Thanos. It is like he's Thanos taking on all these busters, man. Taking on all these people. So yeah, man, you gotta respect somebody's game when they can hold their own against all their artists, all these different artists. And despite all this stuff about Kendrick's diss songs doing so well on streaming and stuff like that, Drake is still like one of the most streamed rap artists ever. And I may post that as the thumbnail for this video, this screenshot of how many streams he has. And I know, like, record sales and all that kind of stuff are not everything, but they are something, and they can't be discounted. So as far as I'm concerned, Drake is winning. He's going to be winning after this battle. He's still going to be cranking out hits. And Kendrick's going to still be cranking out hits. I think it's time for both of these artists to move on and for people to just recognize that Kendrick caught an L and Drake is winning. And let the haters hate. I want to hear what y'all think, haters.